Hey, good morning, everybody. It's Hammer. Today is Monday, January 12th, 2026. I, of course, am Hammer, the founder of such wonderful products as Originator Success, Grab and Go Social, and Rate Sensei. So I know many of you know me for just one, but didn't know that we actually have multiple different products. Company is actually Hammer Solutions. I never say that, though. Anyway, I got a little pear stuck in my teeth. It was yummy, though. Good morning, y'all. Remember, you can join me live each and every weekday morning, 9:30 a.m. Eastern Time. Holly Johnson, happy Monday. Wonderful to see you. Charlie Bedita, good to see you as well, my friend. If you are here this morning, if you wandered your way in and you like what you are experiencing, you can get a reminder to join me live each and every weekday morning. Text message at hmmr.io/reminder is where you sign up, or use this cool QR code over here. We just send out a quick text alert as I'm going live with the links, so you don't have to depend on Facebook or YouTube or any of those to show you when I am going live. So if you're here this morning, say good morning. If you're watching on the replay, don't forget, give me #replay in the comments. Let me know that you were here. I'm going to move this over here. I'm going to try something today. I normally don't, because this is so small. I really should have my glasses if I'm going to do this, but yeah, I can't do it today. I need my glasses if I'm going to do it. I put it on a little tiny monitor. I'll have to show you guys my setup. Anyway, so now that we got this going on, don't forget, smash that like button on whatever platform you're on, and be sure to comment. Do love to hear from you. We've got a lot to talk about today. We've got the first thing is, are rates done improving on Trump's $200 billion Truth Social post from last week, Thursday, when things rattled the markets. We saw rates improve an average of 1/8 to 1/4 point. I want to get your feedback on that too. Second thing, we're going to talk about today at some point is any merit to the attack on Powell from the Department of Justice, and will it affect rates? If you didn't know, over the weekend, it happened late Friday, but the story broke over the weekend that the Department of Justice is launching an investigation for a grand jury thing for the renovation thing. So we'll talk more about that. We're also going to talk about what's happening with inflation tomorrow and lots more. There's so many things to talk about today. So good morning, all of you. I'm going to start out by saying hello to all of my friends that are here this morning, all the live folks that we've got here. So glad to have you join me. Remember, you can join me live each and every weekday morning, 9:30 a.m. Eastern Time. We did say hi to Holly and Charlie already. We got Vicky McSweeney, Yasmin Martin. Good morning. Sean Segaloff, great to have you here, my friend. Quick hot take. Does America run on money or Dunkin'? There's a little debate between me and Segaloff. America runs on money. Sean says America runs on Dunkin'. You tell me, does America run on Dunkin' or money? By the way, that's good marketing, because look what we're talking about. Rob Stewart, Debbie Richardson, Mike Brown, Angela Walters, great to have you here. Ron Siegel says today is National Curried Chicken Day. I don't eat a lot of curry. I don't eat a lot of Indian food or a lot of curry. I maybe try a little bit more. I do take turmeric, though, for anti-inflation. Anti-inflammation. Tim Klyla, Mike Tebow, Debbie Richardson, great to have you here. Zane, what's up, my man? Zane, you are probably... Zane, what grade are you in again? Let me know in the comments. I'm curious. What grade are you in? You are probably one of the most well-versed youngins your age on all of this stuff, since you listen to this every day, right? It's boring adult talk, but you're going to look back on this one day. Jessica Wells, good morning. Allison Foy, Bill Stevens, Tammy Metzger, great to have you there. Listen, I don't agree. I don't disagree that coffee matters, Sean. I got some right here, baby. I just don't think it has to be Dunkin'. In fact, I think Dunkin' is brown water. Ever since I started drinking coffee black, I realized that Dunkin' is weak. Tom Deadmore, good morning. Adam Check, They got more snow up there in Rhinelander, baby. We're going to have snow this year. Nicole Semerad, and Holly says money, but the coffee and the booze too. Kenny Rivard. All right. So, yeah, Jessica Wells, she gets it. Definitely. And Zane, I see that you're in 8th grade. So very cool. I will try to remember that, but I'm old and I forget things. So I might ask you again, but thanks for letting me know. All right. So let's go ahead and we're going to talk about all this stuff, but let's start off with the technicals first. Take a look at where rates are at today and all that good stuff. So let me go ahead and throw this up on the screen. We'll start off by taking a look at the technicals. Let me bring up that monitor here. Here you go. We're going to pop over here. Let me pull up Presentify so we can go ahead and do some drawing and doodling. So you'll see this morning that according to MBS Live, mortgage-backed securities, the 5.0 coupon, is down 17 basis points at 132. Now, I want to show y'all, just because it happens this way sometimes, right? When you look at MBS Highway, they show the 5% coupon down 7 basis points at 126. And then we get to Rate Alert, and Rate Alert, just to be clear, Rate Alert is garbage. Just to throw it out there, because I know I'm going to hurt some feelings, I helped take Rate Alert to market. I helped start it, take it to market back in the day. We're talking, oh, why did it change cameras? Let me do this. All right. We're talking 2010. We're talking 15 years ago. However, I will say that now Rate Alert is garbage, and their data is inaccurate. They're on the wrong coupon. Based on what just recently happened, if I hadn't switched to the 5.0, there's no reason we'd be looking at the 5.5. It's not even relevant now. So this is just junk. If you follow Rate Alert, don't. I leave it up there just because I like to see what they're doing. So anyway, taking a look here, mortgage bonds are down about 17 basis points on the day. And it's not that one is right and one is wrong. You'll see this will actually come up very close to this one shortly. They're not too far off. They're both Reuters feeds, but it has to do with what time you're basing this off of and when the end of the day and the beginning of the day was. So you'll see that these are going to get very close. They usually will come up, even if they show the same number, you could see a bit of a difference here. Like this is only minus 3 basis points, but this shows minus 17 basis points. And this is actually a higher number. So that's just something to be aware of, because now it's at 100.30 and this is at 100.33. So just don't get too wrapped up in that. It depends on when they changed from yesterday. But if we look at yesterday ending the day at 100.50, I say yesterday, Friday, ending the day at 100.50, right? Then this morning we're 100.33. Take a look at where pricing was. There was so much volatility last Friday. You see that right here in the corner. When we take a look at this, and you'll see that pricing generally was going to stabilize right about here. And that's right around 100.44, 100.42. So you're going to see, like, we'll call it 140-ish. And it ended the day a little bit higher, but there really wasn't much of a reaction to this. This morning, we're down a few basis points. However, many lenders are still all over the board with pricing, depending on how aggressive they were. So this is the part where you come in. And let me ask you guys, what did you see at a change in pricing after the Thursday post? So right now, just to recap, last Thursday, President Trump, and I give him his proper due, we'll call him President Trump, and for the first reference, right? President Trump, he posted on Truth Social, so he didn't tweet it, but he posted on Truth Social that he was ordering his representatives to buy $200 billion in mortgage bonds from Fannie Mae and Freddie Mac with their balance sheet. Now, we saw an immediate market reaction, and you see that right here in these two green candlesticks, right? We went from being down a few basis points on the day on Thursday to bouncing all the way up, and then Friday kept going. Now, when I look at Mortgage News Daily, during the day on Friday, he had 5.99 up here, and then it moved to 6.06. So, but I think a lot of lenders, if you're pricing at 6.06, you're pricing at 5.99. Lenders want that magic 5.99 rate. So, I would say that using Mortgage News Daily as a reference point, we saw rates move about a quarter of a point better. You could argue it's an eighth of a point in some scenarios, but I think overall it's going to be about a quarter point better in rate. Would you guys agree or disagree in the comments? Let me know. I need the feeling from what you guys are seeing when you price out your loans. Was it more than that? Was it less than that? Or would we say that we've seen rates improve about a quarter point? So what's important from here is what's going to happen now. And I put this in my written lock advice. I'm in the middle of writing this, but I'm going to bring this over here so you guys can see it. And this is kind of the key here. So it says, just lost you. Nicole Samurai just lost me. Did anyone else lose me? I don't think so. Let me check my audio here. No, it's on the right thing. Will said about a quarter point on conventional. Yeah, and that's what you should be seeing. That's what I would expect to see. All right, so take a look here. And I said, and this applies to all of you guys too. Now, I know some of you are going to get pissed at me for saying this, and some of you are going to cheer me for it. Really depends on how you feel about Trump. But I don't feel about Trump. I don't care. It's about being objective, right? And understanding. Trump posts a lot of stuff. He's posted about the credit card thing and wanting to cap that at 10%. He's posted about 50-year mortgage rates. He's posted about portable mortgages. He's posted about all kinds of things. We saw a very strong reaction. Now, a lot of things happen. He gets a lot done. People can argue, but he gets a lot done. Whether he should be able to or shouldn't be able to do these things, whether courts reverse them, he takes action. He gets things done. He gets them pushed through. The big bloated bill, the different tax changes that he wanted, the tariffs. He pushes a lot through. However, there is a limit. And there's a lot of things that he says or alludes to or puts out there, gets the reaction, but it never seems to get revisited, right? Like, we don't hear anything that there's anything happening with a 50-year mortgage. And I can guarantee you, well, I can't guarantee anything because I have a pee on nobody, but I would strongly protest or attest or some kind of test. You ain't never going to see a 50-year mortgage. It's just not going to securitize. It's not going to happen. However, this whole thing with the $200 billion, first of all, $200 billion is a lot of money, but it's not a lot of money in mortgage bonds. You're talking about quantitative easing that far surpassed that and was combined with a lot of other variables to help drive mortgage rates down to the lows that we saw. Now, you'd think, though, that $200 billion would buy you more than a quarter point. The problem is there's no activity on this. There's no action. Markets traded on the speculation because that's what they do. That's how they try to keep ahead and get that money. If I can buy this utterly smooth hand cream today for $1 and sell it for $1.50 tomorrow or next week, I'm going to do that because I can make money. They're basically day trading on mortgage-backed securities. We saw the spreads between the 10-year Treasury and mortgage-backed securities fall back. I haven't looked at any charts, but it's probably near the historic regular levels, and it may even be a little bit better than that at this point. How crazy would that be? So, but if we don't see any action on it, will that creep away? What normally happens in the world of mortgage bonds when we, see something that is sold on the rumor like this, we see a lot of buying, speculation about Fed rate cuts or any kind of other data that has driven these kinds of moves. We've seen mortgage bonds improve arguably. Let's say that the low that day was 99.69. They were 99.84 here. We were down like 6 basis points. So we were probably like, they opened at 99.80. So let's say we went from 99.80 to the current level of 100.35. That's only 50 basis points. 50 basis points. This is not like some kind of super rally that we've seen from other situations where rates have gone up 200 basis points. We've seen that in the past. We're not seeing that here. So this could very easily, this is very similar. We can see other days. I mean, look at here. We saw, in September, you were at 98.43, and over the course of a few days, you were at 99.78. I'm sorry, 98.43 up to 99.78. That's 130-ish basis points, 125 basis points here, right? So we've seen bigger jumps. We haven't seen that here. This could easily come down. And in fact, this morning we're 100.31 after peaking at 100.50. Not peaking because that's the top of the candlestick, but closing arguably on Friday at 100.50. We're at 100.31. That's why we're down. And it's funny because that would be 20 basis points. So let me refresh this because that chart's probably, yeah. So it's highlighted. So we're 100.38. So we're down 12 basis points at the moment. And that puts me in a position where, again, as we said on Friday, we were talking about locking anything closing the next couple of weeks on Friday just to be for protection because it looked like we may have stuck there. I would definitely consider locking a pretty good quantity of loans right now because until we get more information that this is happening, we may see this start to creep down. Now, again, if Trump issues a post and says, the purchases are going to start tomorrow, we've got everything lined up, you'll see a market reaction. We can't forecast that. We can't react to that. And you want to tell your consumers that. However, we're playing the odds. Just like when I play my poker, I got to get better at sharing this tattoo. Here we go, that way, right? Just like when I play poker, you're playing the odds, but you don't know what the next card off the deck is going to be. And that's the situation here. There is always an opportunity to see a reaction, especially to a Trump post. Now, that's where we're at as far as the technicals. Keep an eye on this 10-year treasury, by the way. I haven't talked about it, but it hasn't really moved. We're at 4.187. That's 4.19. We want to see that stay under 4.20. 4.20 is the big deal mark on the 10-year yield. And you'll notice the 10-year yield, of course, like what we just talked about, has not reacted to Trump's post because it wasn't about the 10-year treasury. They're not buying treasuries. They're buying mortgage bonds, and traders react specifically to mortgage bonds because if we've got utterly smooth in one hand and remote in the other, if utterly smooth is anticipated to go from $1 to $1.25 and remotes are not, there's no reason for remotes to change because they're not being purchased. Well, and arguably, maybe these will start to go down because there'll be more supply because people will sell off some of these remotes to buy more of the hand cream. That's why we're not seeing this, but the spreads between the 10-year and mortgage bonds have improved because of this. So that's actually a good thing. It's why we see rates that can adjust. But the thing is, how long does this I don't want to call it a charade. It's not a charade. If he buys $200 billion and it does push mortgage rates down, it's what he said would happen. But is it enough to, create home affordability? No, it's not. It's a lot of smoke. So, you're not going to get home affordability at current home prices. That's a problem. Ron said Trump is always taunting the haters to keep them off balance. The haters always fall for the taunt. They never learn. I agree. Absolutely. So, Holly said, I feel like he throws a bunch of stuff at the wall. Like he's always spitballing and seeing what sticks and what falls off. And I think that's part of it. And that's why I want to be clear. I'm not a Trump hater. I have a respect for what he's able to achieve. Whether I agree with him or not, or like him as a person, irrelevant. But you have to at least understand it. And in order to understand the effect on mortgage rates, we got to have a vibe for it. So we need to put our emotional parts away and look at what we think is actually happening here with this stuff. So as far as that goes, rate sheets today, they're going to be, with some lenders, they're going to be a little bit worse because we are down a few basis points from Friday. Some lenders are going to be a little bit better. We should see at least a little more consistency amongst lenders. Now, I'm going to look back in the comments. What did you guys tell me that you saw rates do when I asked you? Let's talk about that. So Angela said about a quarter point improvement. Let's see. I know we saw some more on that. Charlie said hardly any change in pricing from Thursday to Friday. That's crazy. See, and that would be something where you've got to kind of know that compared to how other lenders are doing, so you know whether you need to lock or not. That's definitely an odd one right there. And Ron said, getting rid of capital gains on primary residence will help the housing market. Long-term holders are discouraged from selling due to taxes. Yeah, there's definitely, even not on primary residence. Why not get rid of or adjust capital gains? I've got a home. My son just bought a house. He closed on Friday. He was living in a house I own right now. It's an investment property. Okay, I'm one of the evil investment owners. I'm not an institutional owner, but institutions own a tiny portion compared to guys and gals like me, right? And I'm going to sell this property, but maybe do I hold on to it and rent it, or do I sell it? But if I sell it, now I got to take capital gains on it, right? So it's income. So if you want to get more inventory in the housing market, you got all these people that bought Airbnbs. Maybe we get rid of capital gains, or it's a greatly reduced capital gains on investment properties. Why not? Why not? That would, a temporary thing for a year. That's something the government could do because they control capital gains and taxes in the IRS. That's a lot better idea than trying to cap interests on credit cards. But we're not going to go there because that doesn't affect mortgage rates. Now, reprice risk today is moderate, by the way. We want to keep an eye on this. We definitely could see some more volatility when it comes to this. So keep an eye on this. And we're at 21 minutes, so I'll wrap up real quick too. Let's talk about real quick the whole Fed building renovations and the fact that let's see, where is it? Here you go. The Fed Chair Jerome Powell, they're investigating this whole criminal probe, looking at testimony to Congress over the renovations. Again, I don't want to go too deep on it, but I did promise I would go deeper on it a little bit here. There's nothing here. When you look at it, Reuters sums it up pretty well. Why are the buildings being done? How much over budget? This is a free article. Go read it. They're over budget because of all the same crap that people are over budget, because things went up, labor went up, tariffs went up. All of that does play a role. And then because a lot of it is their historic buildings, they're taking some huge undertakings. There's rules in Washington, D.C. They can't build up, so they're digging down. Do you know how expensive it is to dig a basement parking garage in underneath a historic building? And how long that will take? These are huge undertakings that have only gotten more and more expensive. I don't think that a parking garage is necessarily the things that they said that the Fed was lying about, like they were getting some lavish VIP dining room, okay? A VIP dining room wouldn't be that expensive. What's driving the costs is all the other stuff. This is all crap. There is an interesting take here. I've only seen Bloomberg talk about it. Bill Pulte seen as key instigator behind the subpoena. You guys know I don't like Pulte. I'm not a fan. I just don't respect him as an individual or his ability. And this is more of the same. To me, this is just living as a sycophant. He's just, his nose. There's a South Park episode where Pam Bondi has brown on her nose and the whole thing, right? I think that South Park needs to pay attention to Bill Pulte, because Bill Pulte is way up there in So here it is. So actually, they have a conversation. I haven't watched this yet, but he's the key instigator. This is all political. I think they're trying to really raise the temperature of the water so that Powell will quit when he leaves his role. Remember, Powell is no longer the Fed chair in May, but he has a role as governor until 2028. All right. Ron says, will Powell fight back against POTUS? Congress put a backdoor protection into the Fed governing rules per Danielle DiMartino Booth. Yeah, I'm not subscribed anymore, so I didn't see that. On January 28th, after its first 2025 meeting, the FOMC can legally vote any of its 19 members with a term extending into 2027 to serve as chair through December, replacing Powell's expiring term as Fed chair or reappointing him. Trump's head would explode. Yeah, I don't think Powell wants to deal with it. So there's so much chess going on behind the scenes here. That's interesting. I don't know anything about that, Ron. If you don't mind, can you forward me that email? I normally don't ask you to do that, and I respect her material. I just wasn't reading it consistently enough to continue with one more paid service. But I'd like to know more about what you're saying there, and I'd like to do some research on it. Mike said that he thought they did eliminate capital gains on primary residence. I think there's a cap on it, not eliminated altogether. We'd have to double check. It is a swamp, dude. It's totally a swamp. The entire thing is a swamp. Oh, in a swamp, meaning Washington, D.C., on the Potomac River. Absolutely. Yeah, Ron Siegel answered that one. How about a VIP ballroom? You could argue about, I'm not here to audit the books, but apparently that was paid for with private donations and, et cetera, and why it's needed. And so I'm not even going to compare them or get on that one. You agree on Pulte? Thank you, Lisa. Yeah, I Pulte. That is a guy that he's somebody that I would have to wash the toilet after he used my bathroom. Like, I probably have to get rid of it. Okay, it's not part of the paid subscription. Thank you. All right, even better. So yeah, because I'd love to see that. Tom saw an eighth of a point improvement. Bill Stevens, many conventional locks in the fives. Bill, was that with points? And Bill's a wholesale. Bill, if you want to tell everybody on the chat, what lender you work for, Bill is a wholesale rep at a lender. If there's any brokers on that want to talk to Bill about a relationship, I think you work at Cake, right? Or is that? I know you've been at a couple of different places. I know that you're a wanted man, so just curious where you are now. Let us know in the comments. But anyway, as far as all this goes, not affecting mortgage rates is a key thing to know right now. It's not affecting rates. If it starts to, we'll pay attention. Right now, speculation on a Fed rate cut remains, that there's not going to be one. It did nothing to change that. There's speculation for a March cut, not really there at all. Speculation for an April cut also falling. So none of this having any effect on that. NMSI, my friends, NMSI. So anyone that would like to talk to Bill Stevens and see if maybe he can help you as a wholesale lender at NMSI, please reach out to him via social media and let him know you found him on the show. So, all right, well, I'm going to wrap it up, y'all. But anyway, it does not look like we've got anything big going on today. As far as this goes, what I didn't talk about yet, tomorrow CPI inflation. So I don't think that will have a huge take on things because there's no expectation of any Fed rate cuts. So we're not going to see that reaction. You'll see the normal reaction. Lower inflation is good for bonds, but I don't think we're going to see a very strong reaction to it. As far as locking and floating, I'd be locking a lot of loans. We could see further improvement, but it looks like this is currently, like this current rally is out of steam for the moment. And until something happens to rejuvenate it, we could very easily see those basis points given back and see rates creep. Now is when you should be stressing the urgency to your consumers. Also, that's why we did a action Zoom. Ron, did you watch the replay? I think you did, and you said thank you. I'm always looking for honest feedback. If I sucked ass, tell me in my chat, DM me that my webinar last week was bad. But we did a Zoom for Grab and Go Social members, and if you're not a Grab and Go Social member, definitely go check it out. It's $7 to get started. Grab and Go Social is our social media content and coaching program. We've got content, coaching, and community, the 3 C's you need to get business, get loans from social media. We give you content to post. We do coaching. And we did an urgent action call last week because I saw so many people tripping over their own feet and falling on their face when it came to what was driving the rate improvements and focusing too much on Trump and not on what consumers and agents want to hear, which is rates have gotten better and let's take advantage of it now. And they weren't stressing the urgency of this could disappear. We need to remember this. This did not, the $200 billion didn't bring rates down. Plus, even if it did, they'll go back up. You need something long-standing to keep them down. If you're pushing them down artificially, if you're manipulating the market, you need to continue manipulating the market, or else it's going to go back to where it was. So it's going to find neutral and equilibrium. So anyway, check out Grab and Go Social for sure. Ron said it was great. Updated your messaging based on it. So awesome. I appreciate it, man, because we really just wanted to make sure we gave our people good stuff. So, all right, my friends, hope you all have a fantastic day. Join me tomorrow. By the way, my son bought his house. Last thing I'm going to do, because I'm just selfish. This has nothing to do with mortgages. Anybody that wants to bail can bail. I'm just going to show you all a couple quick pictures of my son's house and what we did. No, this is my pretty boy, Austin. if you want to get social training from Austin, I'm gonna use that post for something and kind of have fun with them. But this is, look at this dump trailer, tire dump trailer filled with. We gutted the bathroom. We gutted their ensuite bathroom. It's the first thing that we are changing. You can see what it was as we were ripping it apart and gutting it. I don't think I have a picture of it beforehand. I have to find one. But here's the after. Tore that whole thing out. I could not. The valve is broken for the cold water, so I have to go and fix that in the basement with him and show him how to do that. But before we could do that, I just left everything on here so that I could come back and change the plumbing. But we'll be tearing out this insulation, putting in some rock wool. This was an addition, so you can see this used to be a window right here. If for anybody that's not familiar with framing, this was a window. Let's do yellow, you'll see it better. This was a window right here. This is behind the shower. So this was here. We also found a leak in the roof that we will be messing with and taking out. Take a look at, here is the old thermostat. I'm looking to see so I can replace it, but you got the thermostat from the 70s. Look at that. Remember that pattern? It's like from the 70s for an electric radiator. Must have been when they did the addition a long time ago. And we'll be changing out all the outlets and everything because they're pretty terrible. Easy stuff. I've never seen framing like this though. I don't know. This looks like what they were using to hold the wall up. And then they just framed around it. It's the weirdest thing. You generally don't see a diagonal frame in when you're doing stuff. So this is definitely going to be a bit of a question mark and what that was. But because you have this is an outside wall, so you have no technical strength. I guess this does push to I guess it does, but it's just this is not the way things are done. This is not to code. Let's put it that way. So very strange setup here. But yeah, and thanks, Ron. Yeah, no, it's funny. You've imported millions of screwdrivers, don't know which end to use. Yeah, no, I definitely enjoy it. You guys have seen my setup of tools and me redoing my entire kitchen. So yeah, we'll gut this bathroom in a couple weekends. We will have a whole brand new bathroom in there for them, so that they can move in and have a functional bathroom. It was not even functional. Shower didn't work. There were, so we got a lot in front of us, but we'll definitely be doing it. So. All right. Yeah. And congrats. Thanks, Vicky McSweeney and Jessica Wells. Dormer that changed roof line. Yeah, but it's not, that wasn't there. Jason Hansen says dormer that changed the roof line. No, it's on the first floor and it's on, no, that it wasn't that. It looks like they actually used the part that held up the wall. Yeah, that framing is crazy. Yeah, it's Jessica. It's a fun project. Well, especially because it comes with I've got a million honeydew projects. So this one, I still look behind me. I have non-painted walls in the barn because I love it like this. I do have to paint it though. I have to get around to it. But instead, I end up getting sucked into things like this. We're doing so much in this house. I'll do some video. Maybe I'll put it on TikTok. So, all right, my friends, thanks for joining me. I'll see y'all later. Bye-bye.